There is a gap in the West Texas mesonet. There are lots of weather stations that form a network. It's a major forecasting network, but it's south of I-40. And one of the board members had an idea to put some weather stations out. An on-farm weather station, obviously it's a smaller installation, it's more cost effective, but you're actually measuring what happens right there and then, and we can take enough measurements to forecast evapotranspiration. So you take the temperature, humidity, wind speed, solar radiation, and you take that, bring that in together and forecast how much water a plant is likely to use. You can then use the forward-looking weather forecast to project how much water the plants are likely to use into the future. So you marry that up with soil moisture monitoring, which tells you where you are today and how you got there. So how much water is in the soil, how deep the root system is, how much access you've got to soil moisture. And then you can combine that with weather data to project how quickly you're likely to use that. What we've done is we've actually set up a weather station here at the water centre. And then we've also set a 5-foot probe. It's got 15 sensors on it. So this happens to be from Aquacheck, but there are different brands we can use. And so there is a sensor every 4 inches down the probe, 15 sensors. So we can get a really detailed measurement of what's happening in the root zone. And we connect that up to a little telemetry unit that has a rain gauge and a temperature sensor. And so we can measure the rainfall at that site and connect that with what's going on stored in the soil moisture, or what's going on in the soil. In this project, we're going to tie together plant water use, which is really, I guess, backward looking, combined with weather data, which is forward looking, and run a water balance model to enhance irrigation scheduling. Then there's obviously the monitoring. A lot of companies out there selling weather stations, but people really look at those as to what's happening today and looking backwards. How much rain have I had, and how many day degrees have I got? What we're doing here is actually taking those big models, ground truthing them to that point, and looking forward and really bringing in those forward-looking forecasts to try and recommend what's likely to happen in the future. Some people might know me from having worked in the area before. I'm a probe guy. I mean, there is so much you can tell from what reading and understanding the plant. And so, as I've said, we've been able to learn from watching plants drink over the last few years, change the irrigation practices and really make some enhancements. But this is now taking that to the next step, taking all those changes in practice and then just projecting them out to try and give you more of a forward-looking approach. Everyone knows weather is important. The first thing after it rains, everyone wants to go and check a rain gauge. You want to know how much you've had. You look at a soil moisture probe, you know how effective the rainfall's been. Has it run off the field? Has it evaporated off the field, or has it soaked in? So you can start to marry up what falls out of the sky with what goes in the ground, and so therefore what's available to the crop. Plants do grow best within an optimal temperature window, so to speak. They call it thermal time, so it's basically how much time the temperature has been within the optimum growing window. And some plants it can be too hot, and so basically it either goes dormant or you're going backwards, or certainly too cold. It all feeds into a bigger picture. Mm-hmm. Information is power, really, and so being able to bring all that together in a really easy to understand format too. Let's not forget that. It's one thing to have data, it's another thing to have knowledge, and it's another thing to turn that knowledge into action. So most of the on-farm equipment that you get, the good equipment really it helps you make those decisions more easily and brings this information together. And so I was working with soil moisture only and looking at that. Now I've got a lot more tools in the toolbox as far as being able to look at below the ground with soil moisture and above the ground with weather and really tie those together. And so that's what we're looking to do this year. I love working with the farmers in the North Plains. Very smart farmers, very switched on, but people are engaged, they listen and they want to learn. And they're out there experimenting for themselves. So farmers can make the best researchers. But there's been a really good exchange of information and of ideas. And I love that. I encourage more of it.